In our last update, I was openly very bullish on Bitcoin and wanted to see much higher prices. And I shared just one support level below us, which was around $80,000. So with that said, before we dive into today's price action as usual, and this time as price has been a bit more choppy, we will dive into what we did inside the Discord before seeing that move higher. So let's get right into it. So first of all, since our last update, we had our first support at $80,000. And what we saw was a lot of activity around this high, and personally I was still waiting for that support to get reached. If I just show you, I just wanted to see one flush to hit our support and then get the reversal. So what happened? We did get the drop, we did get the reaction, so personally I opened a long position, which did turn into a loss. So at this point I was not interested in any more long positions, but price did end up reversing higher after breaking my support level. So personally, I just missed the long position, but also took a loss. And then if we go forward in time, we still had our resistance that was shared on Monday, $84,000. We saw two imbalances. We saw a big reaction. So at this point, I wanted to see a new daily low form before we saw a bigger reversal. And as I said, again, $80,000. I wanted to see lower prices. So I took a short position, implemented the take profit at $80,000, but my support area was between $79.5 and $80,000. So even though I took profits on my short, I was still waiting for lower prices for potential long positions. And again, what happened? We made another reversal higher. Well, not here, but we made another reversal higher towards $84,000. We had even more imbalances, another rejection, and even though we saw that big bounce, I still wanted to see $79.5 to $80,000 as this was my big support area. And guess what? All you had to do was remain patient. I did decide to take a small long position, which in hindsight was a pretty stupid long position against that small support at 81.8, but a very small loss, so I don't think it really matters. We finally made our way down towards $80,000. Unfortunately, we didn't see any imbalances, even though everything looked nice. So again, everything looked good except that we didn't have imbalances. But in the end, I did decide to take a long position on my more conservative account. Usually I don't share this one simply because I have lazier entries. I know it's a bit funny I say this because as you can see, the entry was pretty much right at the low of the move. But usually what I do is that this account is, as I said, a bit more conservative. I use lower leverage, I am less precise with my entries, and I have wider stop losses, but this one did end up paying off pretty nicely, as if I go over to the charts, as you can see, the only support level that we shared for 2 days did offer a very nice bounce to the upside. So with all of this out of the way, what do I expect next? And this update will be a pretty quick one, as not much has changed since our last video. However, we do have a couple of new things to note that could reinforce that resistance level around $86,000. And that would be that if I go on the 15-minute chart, the behavior that's happening inside this range is very important to note in my opinion. So what you will see is that on every single breakout, again, if I go back to Monday, this was the first resistance that we shared, 83.8. As you can see, every time price tried to move higher, we always had imbalances. So price moves higher, you have an imbalance at the highs, another move up, imbalance at the highs, and you get a big bounce. What happens there? You have 3 imbalances for the breakout and then a reversal. Now let's mark out this high. Again, you try to move higher and 2 imbalances at the highs to offer a rejection. What happens? Another move up, 2 imbalances, and then you get another reversal. And what happened on this drop, you can see that even though it was a very extended drop, we didn't have any imbalances. And what this personally tells me is that people are much more interested in longing the breakouts than shorting the breakdowns. And this is an interesting behavior to note because, as I said, this could make that resistance level that I previously said was not very strong a bit stronger. Because my prediction would be that when price will break out, and if price does break out, of course, above $84,000, what you will get is a lot of breakout traders. So now, if we see a big reaction at $86,000, it's an area, of course, just look at this as an area. If we do get a big reaction, then this could offer a very nice short position for a reversal to the downside. And that's why this level, in the previous update, I said that it was not very strong. I am now a bit more cautious about that level. So again, if you do see a reaction, this could offer a nice short position. If I remind you of the logic behind it, it's very simple. If I go on the 4 hour, we have these imbalances that I personally want to see filled, and that's why I was so bullish during this entire range. So that's the first level to the upside. As I said, nothing has changed since our last update, and the second level does remain the same, pretty much 89.2 towards $90,000. Another area that we have this wick on the 4 hour, and we have an hourly imbalance. And this does remain my big target for the long position and a big resistance that we could see in case we break $85,900. And again, if we see a reaction at that level, then this could offer a very nice position for a bigger reversal to the downside. And of course, if we break above it, personally, I would like to see a move towards $96,000. However, if I talk about the higher time frames, and that's very important to note, if I go on the weekly, what you will see is that we still have this weekly imbalance to fill. And a bit of imbalance theory right there is that usually what happens when price moves back into an imbalance, which is what it did there, as you can see, it moved into this imbalance, even when you see a bounce higher, when you have partially filled imbalances, you have a very high chance of price coming back down to finalize this imbalance. So personally, I do see this low at 76.6 as a non-finished bottom. And that's why to me on the higher time frames, this bounce is just another short opportunity to see a bigger reversal and a drop towards $70,000 for the fill of that weekly imbalance. So again, as we have a partially filled imbalance there, it is very likely that price, even though we're seeing a bounce, that price will come up and then come back down to finalize this imbalance. So on the higher time frames, I do remain bearish, but on the lower time frames, of course, for now, I would like to see first 85.9, and then if we do break above it, $90,000. Both of these levels could offer very nice short positions for reversal to the downside. And then for the levels below us, today I honestly don't see any very strong support level. So unless price comes back down and loses this area, of course I still expect higher prices. But if we do for some reason decide to reverse from here, then and lose this area, then that would be a very bearish sign, and I would expect a break back below $76,000. So not much to note below us. Again, that was the support area that we shared on our Discord for the past 2 days. It did offer a very nice bounce. So right now, I just don't see anything very interesting. And with all of that said, that was mainly it for this update, so let's do a quick recap. Overall for now, our support has offered very nice bounce. I would like to see higher prices. However, the trend is that people are trying to long the breakouts, but not trying to short the breakdowns. So the first big resistance in my view would be 85.9, because if we see a big rejection, then this could offer that big short position for a reversal to the downside and a break back below $76,000. However, personally, my big target and resistance does remain 89.2 towards $90,000. If we get the move up and we get that reaction, then again, this could offer a very nice short position for again a drop lower and a break back below $76,000. But if you do break above it, then personally, I would like a move towards $96,000. To the downside, all price has to do is maintain above this area in order to look good. So again, if for some reason price does decide to move lower and break below this area, then that would be a very bearish sign and we could expect lower prices. And very funnily, actually, you can see what happened just now. This hourly candle did turn into an imbalance, so you can see that people are already trying to long this breakout for a move above $84,000. And that's what I've been saying during this update. People are much more interested in opening longs at the highs than shorts at the lows. So this is already something to note. We have an hourly imbalance at the highs, which could be a bit of a warning sign that price might reverse to the downside. Personally, I don't have any resistance, so I'm not going to be shorting. But again, you can see people are much more interested in longing the breakouts. So with all of that said, as usual, if you guys enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.